Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is Wraith here, back with another video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be basically talking about what I've done in Fortnite, whether I was grinding to be the best I possibly could, or even right now, what I've done to become a better player overall. All these tips have worked personally for me, and I've kind of chosen the ones that I think personally have helped me the most become a better player overall, whether it's mechanic wise, whether it's game sense wise, just or overall playing style. So hopefully this video helps you guys out. Hopefully you guys can kind of take some of these tips and tricks and use them into your own game and become better players overall. So if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit the subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and let's get into it. So the first thing that I did to really see big improvement, and it's really important that you do this from kind of an outside perspective, is actually take a step back and look through what I needed to work on personally, like what I needed to work on the most in my gameplay that I struggled with like the most out of everything else. Another really good thing, if you struggle to kind of take a step back and look for that, is just asking your friends that you play with, be like, hey, like, after we play duos or trios, or like when we play creative, whatever the case is, what do you kind of see that I struggle with the most? Like, is it my mechanics? Is it my game sense? Is it I do a specific move too much? Blah, 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 blah. And then kind of figure out what that is and start working on it. So for me personally, the biggest thing that I kind of struggled with was mindlessly W keying. Like, I just kind of push people, even if I was low or in trios or duos, I just kind of push the opponents without kind of letting my duo or trio know. Don't know why it was. I just had that habit of being like, hey, I want to get as many kills as possible. Like, if I get 2 kills, my duo or trio or whoever is going to be like, okay, like, good stuff, like, let's keep going, blah, blah, and it's more hype once you get more kills, and it's better off, blah, blah. So for me, I just mindlessly W keyed a little bit, and my partners all kind of brought that up to me, as well as when I took a step back and actually looked at it, I was like, hey, you know what, I die a lot of the times by myself, and whether that is my partner or my trio or squad members aren't with me, or the fact that I just pushed up, it's a little bit of both. Even if they're not pushing up with me, I should still generally know where they are. Another thing that I struggled with was my mechanics. I realized that my mechanics were a little bit behind, like the building and editing aspect, as well as my shotgun aim. Like I've talked about in previous videos, my AR aim has always been pretty good since I've switched to keyboard. But my overall mechanics as well as shotgun aim kind of lacked a little bit more, and I realized I started losing fights a little bit because of it. So those are the two kind of main things I realized I needed to start working on, and I started kind of working on it slowly, and ever so slightly it's starting to get better. I started realizing when I was pushing something, like, hey, wait, hold up, I gotta wait, and then I started working on my mechanics a little bit. So just taking a step back and realizing what you need to work on. So the next tip that I personally think helped my gameplay more so than anything else was start having a routine of playing Kovacs every single day. In my opinion, aim is one of the most important aspects of all of Fortnite. Whether it's AR kills, sniper kills, literally shotgun flicks, like winning close range shotgun battles, SMG aim, etc., etc. So adding 30 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes of Kovacs a day literally brought my gameplay up so much, especially when I was grinding like 8-9 hours a day. I was playing like 2 hours of Kovacs daily, and I was just getting so much better in my overall aiming that it was like indescribable. Like, watching my gameplay from all the way back in like season 10 or season 9 to where my gameplay is now, the amount of shots I make now is way higher, whether it's, like I said, AR tracking, just AR flicking, sniper shots, flicking, everything. Like, every single aspect of my aim has improved due to Kovacs, and for me personally, I think that's one of the best kind of things I've added in to help me improve, was just adding in a Kovacs routine and start working on my aim a little bit. So for you guys, if you're on controller, obviously I would say you can still work on your crosshair placement and all that kind of thing, so I'd work on that. But for controller, I'd say work a little bit more on or work on your editing and building type of style. But if you're on keyboard and mouse, highly recommend you get Kovacs, or at least work on your aiming creative. That's just, in my opinion, what has helped me a ton. So the next tip that's really worked for me is rewatching my own gameplay and actually writing down and taking notes from what I kind of see. So basically, the main thing I would do is looking at my deaths and seeing what I did wrong that caused that death, whether it was a lead up of small things that kind of led to it, or whether it's just a bad edit, or I missed a lot of shots, or I shouldn't have pushed them. Whatever the case is, I'd kind of watch the gameplay slowly and take down notes after like 2 or 3 days of grinding. I would take down notes for all those 3 days, And basically, like, let's say a couple of deaths would be I just missed my shots, or I jumped in a box when I shouldn't have, or I pushed with too low mats, etc., etc., right? Like, there's tons of reasoning that can build up to your death. You kind of got to be good enough at analyzing your own gameplay to figure out what those deaths are and what they're resulting from. But basically, what I would do after those 2 to 3 days of kind of gameplay, I'd spend an hour, 2 hours VOD reviewing. I'd write down everything, and then at the end, I would make kind of a list of the 3 to 4 biggest things I always ended up dying to. So for example, one of them would be like I jump in a box with attack, and instead of just reclosing the edit after I take my first shot, I just jump in the box and do tack sprays, which obviously create a little bit more of a 50-50 aspect instead of kind of your advantage. So that was the thing I found I die to a lot too much. Another thing was I'd take their wall, I'd try the Mongo Classic, and then I just missed that edit like 3 or 4 times in a row, and it'd allow them to escape. So that was another thing. Another thing was piece control. I'd let them escape without like worrying about where they're building to and try and piece control them. And then, so those 3 things, let's just say, that's what I'd focus on the next week. That's what I'd focus on improving and keeping in the back of my mind. Similar to the first tip, so it's just taking a step back, looking at your gameplay, figuring out what you're dying to, and then taking the 3 or 4 biggest things and trying to work on that. And if you do that every week, every single week, you should be improving slightly on different things that you are causing you to die. So my next tip is really underrated, and not a lot of people actually worry about this tip overall. And in my opinion, it's one of the biggest things, and it's like taking breaks throughout the day, as well as like getting good nutrition, drinking a lot of water, getting good sleep. For me, like the difference between if I had 6 hours of sleep, 6 to 7 hours of sleep, and like 8 to 9 hours of sleep is mind blowing. Like my gameplays overall is way crisper. I have way cleaner edits, hit more shots. My game sense is a lot better. If I get like really bad sleep, I'm just foggy. Like I make bad plays. I find it a lot easier to tilt. I just get frustrated a lot more. Just a lot of things like kind of is a big difference if you get a lot of sleep or not, as well as, like I said, taking annual breaks. Like if you grind 8 hours straight, it's just going to take a mental toll. You're going to be frustrated, you're going to get bored, you're going to get burnt out. So every like 2 or 3 hours or an hour even, literally just taking 5-10 minutes break, going outside, playing on your phone, reading a book, whatever the case is just really good to kind of reset your mental, reset your kind of abilities and everything like that, as well as, like I said, just drinking a lot of water and eating healthier. In my opinion, for me at least, I've seen it help my game quite a bit. Similar to that kind of aspect of getting a good sleep or not, I can pretty noticeably make the difference or notice the difference if I'm like eating healthy, have a lot of water, taking breaks and stuff like that. Just my mental is a lot better. I don't tilt as much. I'm a lot clearer in my thought process. I hit a lot more shots, be a lot more consistent. Just a lot of things are overall better. It might not make a huge difference for you, but I would say honestly try out just having a solid sleep schedule, taking some breaks, drinking a lot of water and stuff like that. And for me at least, it helped quite a bit, and it made a pretty big difference for me. Now the last thing in my opinion that really helped me become quite a bit better player, and I think this one's probably the most tip that everyone can kind of use, and it's to stop worrying about like small cash cups and small tournaments that don't really matter, as well as arena point, and actually work on improving as a player instead of trying to place in those. Obviously if you're playing like FNCS or it's a big cash cup, or you want to do as best as possible and start placing the top 100, top 250, etc., then go for it. But in my opinion, if you really want to improve, so those big tournaments like FNCS, World Cup, etc., that you do really well in, I find that, in my opinion, working on and improving is a lot more important than placing top 100 in a cash cup or something like that. So in my opinion, when I stopped worrying about like where I was placing and stopped worrying about getting to champions and arena points and stuff like that, and I actually started working on my fights and W-keying people, being more aggressive, getting more confident in my fighting ability instead of just boxing up or running away from fights or only winning 2-3 kill arena games instead of like 8, 9 to 10 plus arena games. It's actually helped my overall fighting, my confidence level, my rotation ability, just everything in general a lot better. In my opinion, if you're just playing arena or you're just playing tournaments and you're not really improving, you're just playing them to place or get into Champions League or whatever the case is, in my opinion, that's not the best way to improve. Obviously, if you're just worried about like placing top 100 or even into getting into champions and you don't really care about being the best you possibly can, that's 100% okay. But if you're really looking to improve like I was, in my opinion, just stop worrying so much about these small tournaments unless you're finishing top 5, you're making money, or even arena, and actually focus on improving by W keying, playing a little bit more aggressive, etc. In my opinion, you're going to be way better off in the long run. But yeah, that's basically it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.